you continue doing what you're doing. Never let nobody tell you because you are who? Shamar. You are a star. And as long as you know what you know, that's all that matters.
If we're going by numbers, because numbers cannot be disputed, women are ready. Women. Because 67% of black children are born into single mother households, no father. So women have to raise their children, period, with or without a man. That does not absolve her of her duty. When a man chooses to leave, he is not left with the responsibility of raising children unless he gains primary custody. So, based on statistics, when you say who's more ready to build a family, women.
No.
If he's saying your wife is a hoe, your
I'm
wife is a
sorry.
bitch.
I'm sorry. You are very, very rude tonight.
No, you're rude.
I'm not even
bully
talking to
me.
you.
I
I'm
can
not
hold my
talking
own
to you.
damn time. You're
I'm
not
not
doing that
talking to
bullshit with me
you.
tonight.
I'm not even talking to you right now.
But you talk.
You want to?
Yes. Welcome. And there's more of where that came from. Just in case you're wondering. Yes, honey, there was a time when the queen would take on an entire panel standing in the gap for women in the manosphere. That's right. Windmilling for women. When everybody else on the panel were pick me's, honey. Pick me. Pick me. Pick me. I'm up here for the ladies. I'm finna go toe to toe with everybody. And did. Thank you, Shelby. She says, I'm loving that intro. Thank you. Just a little, just a little glimpse into my world. But listen, welcome everybody. Welcome. Alexis said, got me hollering. Listen, we do it sometimes over here. We like to have a good time. Happy Thursday. Listen, thank you for your patience. We're going to get this party started. Y'all, we are talking about Kid Cudi. And if you haven't already, please check out the video that I did on yesterday, just a snippet of him giving a little bit of insight of not wanting to take the stand for Cassie in the Diddy case, why he did it. And actually, hell, he had no choice because Cassie is slick, honey, like butter. Cassie took him to meet the attorney general. He thought he was just doing an informative meeting, giving them a little bit of background information regarding his encounters with Diddy. He thought he was about to walk up out of there scot-free. And they say, sir, you will be testifying. They forced him to come. And it was interesting because while I was kind of doing a little bit of research on that, Kid Cudi gave exclusive details to Call Her Daddy podcast regarding his battle with his cocaine addiction, struggles with suicidal thoughts, and how he found the strength and continues to find the strength every day to keep going. I do believe, based on what I heard, he's still using substances, right? And it's just been a hard and rocky road for him. And I'm going to share a few snippets throughout the interview that they did. You can tell that he's still struggling. He's still struggling with his use of substances, alcohol, drugs, weed. I mean, smoking a blunt front and center in the interview. But at this point, I think he needs it. Like we need water, and not judging, just keeping it real and talking. It was a very raw conversation. It shines a light on mental health. It also shines a light on fame, that being famous it's not so much fun, according to Kid Cudi and some of the things that he shared in the interview. Like he hated it. He hated being obligated to the fans, y'all, and people running up and wanting photos and just all of that stuff that you think that they would enjoy, or he did not enjoy it at all. And he said that's one of the reasons he actually started to do coke and to started leaning on drugs was to escape the pressures of responding to the fans. And I was like, you know what? We got to talk about this because there's a lot of men that are walking around here smiling on the outside and dying on the inside. This will be a great conversation for, midday and just talk kind of about highlight mental health and just kind of the details of that. As he was sitting there in the interview and I'm watching him smoke his blunt, talk about some of the things that he's doing, a memoir, a book that he's written, how he's always been sharp. I couldn't help but to think, I was like, I don't think he's as sharp as he thinks he is anymore because of his use of drugs. And you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. And he's currently using, right? And one thing he made a point to emphasize was that he and Cassie are really, really good friends. That they're really good friends. And you would think that that's something you would want to highlight and say, yay, right? Not so quick though. Because I was thinking about it last night. I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing. And I've said it before, even with Cassie being friends with Mia, aka Mia, the alias lady that took the stand in the Diddy case. They didn't want to reveal her true identity, so they labeled her or gave her the alias Mia, right? And then Banna. They're all still good friends with Cassie. And then he's in this interview, he reveals they're really good friends. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing if you're still friends with people that are using substances. And let me just say allegedly, because once you free yourself from that, you've got to completely change your environment. Completely change your environment. And if you're still hanging on, connected to the ones that you used to light up with, whatever, smoke a little something, sniff a little something, hit the pipe with, I don't know if that's good. I don't know if it's good at all. And while I was covering the Diddy case, I remember asking or just thinking out loud. I remember sharing with y'all my own personal thoughts. I was like, I hope Cassie's drug free, but I wonder because of her continuation of friendships with some of these people. As he was telling his story, I said, you know what? And he uses drugs, right? I was like, you know what? I don't doubt that they got high together. I don't doubt that they bonded as two addicts. I don't doubt that she was a ray of sunshine to him because he said he kept his cocaine use secret. He didn't want anybody in the industry to know. He didn't want anybody in Hollywood to know. He just liked to do it he liked to do his coke by himself. And remember, he and Cassie dated for a minute. They dated for a while. In between her off and on moments with Diddy. And he even went home with her. I do believe he went home with her for the holidays, if I can remember correctly, the details I heard in the courtroom. And I was like, for a guy like him that struggles, because he just got married. He just got married. And this is going to be a real ass conversation today, y'all. It's going to be real. It's going to be raw. And I'm like, I wonder how that's going to work out for his wife because he still uses in some sense, right? In order just to be able to show up each day. I wonder if his wife is going to be able to get what she needs from the whole man, or is she okay with what she has in front of her? But then on the flip side of that, right? This is me just running through my thoughts. Just like anytime I get ready to do content, I go back and forth. I toggle between those switches because you got to play devil's advocate on all sides of the argument. But then it hit me. There is somebody for everybody. There's somebody for everybody. There's somebody out there that's going to like you and love you just the way you are, even if you're still struggling. There's somebody that's going to wake up and you're going to put a smile on their face. So I was like, you know what? Maybe there's not this level of big expectation that his wife has from him. Maybe she likes the man that he is today that we see on this screen and she don't have a problem with it. And then it made me think of Kanye and Bianca. And I'm like, well, you can't stay in dysfunction unless you become what? Dysfunctional. You can't operate in toxicity unless you become toxic. So I wonder if his wife is squeaky clean or if she uses and it just goes together. It's just like a hand in hand thing. So it's just so many questions I have as I was going through this very interesting conversation. Lots and lots of highs and lows and ups and downs. He's extremely animated. You can tell he still struggles in some sense. I mean, in some aspect. But it's beautiful. It was a beautiful moment of vulnerability. I can tell he felt comfortable with the interviewer. Can I think out loud? I wish these men could find that comfortability in Black women that could interview them too. That would be nice to see. That would be nice to see them connect on a baseline level just off Blackness. You know what I'm saying? And then go there. I thought it was a good interview. I like how he showed up, unrehearsed. This is who I am, flaws and all. But there's a part of me that knows if men like this get in front of the right person, it could be magic. It can be inspirational on both sides. It's just not, going to be an interview that we check off or that he or she checks off. It could be mind-blowing in the most basic way off GP. So, Shelby, you think they're scared of that? Why you think that? Think out loud for me. Put it in the chat. I think it would be captivating. And I think people underestimate the power of unity and the power of similarities and commonalities. I think it would be captivating in more ways than one. But unfortunately, as we see in the industry, it's just not who those men sit in. And it's not even specific to Kid Cudi, y'all. If you just kind of start paying more attention and be woke, like the kids say, start watching. Start watching. They don't give Black women those interviews. White women get them or Black men get them. You get what I'm saying? But if you can just sit down in front of a womb similar to that of which you came from, man, I just often wonder, what would it be like? You know how you crave something that you know could be good? But anywho, we're going to jump all around this interview. I'm going to pull it up in just a few seconds. Simple Yet Stylish says, I agree with you, Queen, especially because of how comforting and nurturing us Black women are. Some of us, child. But I agree. Listen, because Black women would hold them accountable and some may not be ready for that. And not Jennifer Hudson, right? Because y'all, baby, they talked about her like a dog when she did that Eddie Murphy interview. Not like a talk show host, but somebody that's really that he could. I'm not saying that he wasn't comfortable. He was, but somebody that can go there with them. Hell, even it could even be Oprah, but somebody that can really take their hat off, let their hair down a little bit, and just kind of connect. All right, y'all ready? Darlene said, Black women always want to use opportunities of men speaking, opening up as an opportunity to hold them accountable. No one's going to feel comfortable with someone that's chastising them. That's a good point. That's a good point, Darlene. That's a good point. I can't argue with that. Sugar Mama said, I wonder if that animated Netflix special Kid Cudi produced was about Cassie. Oh, I haven't seen it. All right, so let me go ahead and screen share really quick. I'm going to jump all over the interview. It's not going to be like in chronological order. I'm just going to jump. I made some notes. We're just going to jump and pause and get your real thoughts in real time. But it's the reason why I would like to share and just kind of give my personal insight on this interview is because many people do struggle with SI, depression, anxiety, stress. SI is suicide ideation. You know what I'm saying? And somebody has really hit rock bottom when they feel like this is it. They've probably gotten to a place where life is real heavy, man. When you're constantly struggling with that every day. And even when you're rich and you're famous or you have a good job, even if you're not a celebrity or rapper, athlete, whatever, and you have access to the EAP benefits, the behavioral health, the mental health benefits, nothing seems to be able to take that heaviness away. So that's another reason why I would like to just come together as a YouTube forum and see what that looks like with somebody telling their story in real time. Y'all cool with that? Can we just do this as a power hour? All right, here we go. Let me remove, and then let me know when y'all can see my screen. Let's see. I got to take this off. All right, I think we're good. All right, here we go, y'all. Toot, let me know if they flag me. I got a lot of notes. So we're going to start at 54. Do I want to start at 54? Let's start at 4201. All right, here we go. 4201. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. If I can start there.
How this happens, but then you're still going to that job. And I remember one of the lines you write, you're like, I'm standing there. People are like, oh my God, Cudi, like your music is fucking awesome. I'll take a size medium.
Yeah.
And you were like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, how did it feel when you started having your first fan interactions? Like, were you cool with it? Was it starting to feel a little uncomfortable immediately?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable immediately.
Why do you think that is?
Because I don't think in my mind I was ready for that energy. Like,
I love his honesty. I love how he takes his time to connect with himself, to make sure that what he's saying is representative of what he's feeling or what he felt. To me, that's like badass. That's like rock star shit. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of pay attention to his body language, how he's really trying to stay connected to himself in this interview.
Like, I was not prepared. And I don't think there's anything that anyone could have told me to prepare me. But I was not prepared for it. I wasn't at the time built for it. And
I want you to go back and watch his hands as he's talking about the fandom, the stardom. And he had a part-time job, right? He was younger, so he's working where he was working. I can't remember where he said he worked. And people are coming in there and he's like this big time star and they're ordering their order. But as he recalls the events, look at his hands. And hopefully I didn't go back too far, but look at his hands.
Was it starting to feel a little uncomfortable immediately?
yeah, it was uncomfortable immediately.
Why do you think that
Instantly.
is?
Watch
Because
this.
I don't think in my mind I was ready for that energy.
Watch his hand.
Like, I was not prepared. And I don't think there's anything that anyone could have told me to prepare me.
If you look at his hands, typically on Sunday when you go to church, this gesture would be used as a form of what? Worship, surrender, opening your heart up. And for me, what this represents when he says, I'm not prepared, I was not prepared for this and what came with this life, it's almost like a place of surrender. Because it's like, damn, I got to surrender to the game. No, it's open. He's open, Miss Sugar. He exposed, surrender. My life no longer belongs to me. I got to go with it wherever the fans want, whatever they need, the managers, the lights, the cameras, the action. That's a lot of pressure. It's to me I don't know. That just occurred to me in that moment. And that's why I said this is like a really beautiful, beautiful interview if you pay attention.
But I was not prepared for it. I wasn't at the time built for it. And it threw me off. It because you spend 24 years of your life just being a dude, you know? And then all of a sudden you are the fucking man.
So he said, you have to think about where I came. I'm just a dude. Hey, dude, like this nerdy, this kid. What do y'all call them? Simps. Niggas with no motion. Basic, for the women, y'all say basic bitches. But he's like, for the, 24 years of my life, I'm this nobody. I wasn't that dude. I wasn't that guy. You walk right past me. And then bam, my life is just, it goes in a completely different direction. I'm that guy because the industry says I am. And I was not prepared for that.
And then, you can tell when you meet people and they have interest in you only because of who you are, and they don't know who you are. And you can see just looking in their face, looking in their eyes, you can tell when someone's being genuine, and it's always not. It's always someone putting on a fucking role. You know what I mean? And
wow, are y'all listening? He's like, It's almost like this sense of confession of I know who I am. You ain't got to lie to me and act like I'm so great and put on because I'm around and I'm a rapper and I'm a rap star. Now you can see how he was enthralled, enamored with Cassie when she paid him attention.
It was very yeah, it fucked me up, man. And that's what drove me to using hardcore drugs like cocaine, you know. I really just needed something to calm my nerves when I went out, or, you know, just do certain things that, like, even just really was leaving the house. Because if I didn't do cocaine, I'd be in the house all day long. But like if I did coke, then I was like, oh shit, now it's time to hit the streets, and had energy. And it was, if I met fans, it'd be different because I'm just on the shit. So I'm just.
Coke was a mask. So it's crazy. He said, you know, if he had to do coke just to leave the house. His house was his safe haven, his lion's den, to go take on this world. This thing that we see as success, right? Yeah, this is what some of us aim for. These kids are aiming for. Your nieces, your nephews. Hell, some of you might want to rap and sing. I don't know. And the thing that everybody thinks they want. He had to do coke. He had to do coke just to maintain it, according to him.
It's like, hey, what's up, man? What's up? I want to talk to everybody, you know?
I want to get to that, but I just had a thought when you were saying, you know, you weren't prepared for this. And I agree. Like, I don't know if anyone is, but I want your opinion on, like, in your personal life. I know I wrote down you had written, becoming Kid Cudi was supposed to overhaul the entire world Scott had known. And then you get to fame and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? You mentioned the relationships in your life, you starting to have to be like, are you here for the right reasons? Are you here for can you recall like any specific moment in your life where you remember being like, oh fuck, like I'm completely, whether it's being used or this is a fake relationship that I just didn't see and they're in it because I'm famous?
There were definitely moments with like women, trying to navigate, just being single in New York.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick. I think many athletes, rappers, entertainers use that as a cop out. I'm not saying that he is or isn't telling the truth, but we hear all of them say that once they get money. What you really here for? I don't know who real from fake, but when it comes to dating and women and sex, my thing is, if you're not sure, then don't sleep with them. Because if you still want a little something, I don't think you really care what they're there for. If you're laying, I think it's a cop out. I think it's an easy exit strategy. I think it's an easy way to kind of use. Let me see what I can get up out of her, and then discard her, toss her to the side. Because hell, I don't know what she's here for.
And successful is, man, it's hard, and it was fucking like hard. And a lot of people that I was kicking it with, I usually party with. We just get fucked up,
And that's what I was telling y'all earlier when we started off the video. I said, there's no doubt in my mind that he and Cassie, I strongly believe it was drugs and alcohol and sex. Drugs, sex, alcohol, drugs, sex, alcohol, drugs, sex, alcohol. Because we do know that Cassie, well, for those of I know, based on being in the courtroom, she used a lot of drugs, a lot of drugs. She and her friends, a lot of drugs.
So it wasn't like anything good. It was all just rock and roll and madness. And, it's just started to eat away at me. Like after a while, it's like, this is not serving me. It's not making me happy,
You wrote about a few of your relationships in the book, one of them being Cassie. Obviously, that is always going to be a big conversation online. And you were with her, obviously, during a very dark time of what she was going through with Diddy. During that time, your house was broken into, your car was lit on fire. What do you just like overall remember?
Let's just say this, and I want to be completely transparent and straightforward. Cassie did not describe her relationship in court with Diddy as dark. I'm going to let that marinate. Cassie did not describe her relationship with Diddy as dark. When they read the text messages, and there was thousands of them, she said that he made her feel like the best woman in the world. Some of her text messages to him were, I know I'm crazy. I know I'm a lot. You put up with a lot of my shit. I'm going to get better. So when the interviewer here says you obviously dated Cassie during a very dark time in her life, that's why I say to the men, are any of you really heroes? Because if she was in a dark time in space, then why would you pursue a sexual relationship with her? You see what I'm saying? A predator is a predator is a predator.
Remember about that time and that relationship in your life. I can't believe I finally got to say this. Call Her Daddy is brought to
Hold
you.
on, y'all. She has to skip.
Stover's has been.
I scored a lot of different beats, and
Hold on.
man, in the moment, it was just crazy. Like,
You wrote about a few of your relationships in the book, one of them being Cassie. Obviously, that is always going to be a big conversation online. And you were with her, obviously, during a very dark time of what she was going through with Diddy. During that time, your house was broken into, your car was lit on fire. What do you just like overall remember about that time and that relationship in your life?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, you know, man, in the moment, it was just crazy. Like, I had a hard time understanding if it was reality. Like, I was like, am I?
And when you have a hard time understanding if it's reality, it's because when you're so coked up and doped up and smoked up and you're having the best sex of your life for hours and days at a time, there's a level of detachment, right? It's reality, but it's not reality. He probably felt great to steal Diddy's girl, have sex with her, sneak around, get hotel rooms, go home for Christmas. He felt on top of the world. Beautiful, stunning woman. You want me? I get to lay with you? He probably felt like King Kong, I would imagine.
Mind the movie? What the fuck is going on? And like, it's so great. You read the book, right?
Yes.
I want you.
He liked his time with Cassie. You can't point at it. You can't describe it as dark. If we go back and look at his facial expressions, I can turn the sound off and just let it play. Let's try it. Watch this.
Yeah, it was. Crazy. Like,
That's reminiscent on good times. I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. Hell, some of y'all tuned in right now may be like, shit, I remember that time. Baby. Some of y'all probably like, damn, he brought back memories for me. That time when I was in college or that time when listen, that was a good time for him. It's not what people are trying to paint it out to be. He enjoyed her and she enjoyed him. That's what they do in Hollywood. They have sex. They do a lot of drugs. They have a lot of sex. They drink. They do whatever they want to do with whomever they want to do it with. That's what he's reminiscing on.
I had a hard time understanding if it was reality. Like, I was like, am I in a movie? What the fuck is going on? And like, it's so great. You read the book, right?
Yes.
I want you to listen to the memoir. I scored the memoir. I was just in the studio last night. I finished it up, right? So like, I score a lot of the different bits in the book. And in this moment, I scored a lot of different beats and it brings it to life. But it was, you know, just chaotic and intense. And
now listen, Cassie's not perfect. I'm sure he enjoyed her. In court, they described her as being extremely sexual, a very, very sexual woman, a woman who enjoys sex with multiple partners, right? Go read the transcript for those of you to refresh your memory. But in spite of that, if you listen to some of the commonalities that he's talking about, he said his relationship with her, even though it was short, y'all, it wasn't even 3 months. It was intense. The intensity of her, the intensity that she brought to his life. Let's continue.
You know, I wasn't like I was already out of my mind dealing with my own personal shit. So I was really just like, fuck it, you know? Like I just was willing to walk into the fire and
he was ready to risk it all for her. She was intense, she was crazy, she was wild, she was up and down. He couldn't keep up with her. But fuck it. I'll risk it all for you. I'm already shit. I'm already on drugs. I'm already loop-de-loo, whoop-de-woo. But I'll risk it all for you. What's another cup of crazy? Nothing. I'm already here. Miss Sugar says she snatched his soul, his whole soul. His entire soul. His entire soul. You hear me? And he's conflicted. Because on one hand, he really enjoyed it, but on the other, damn. And it happens. Women are just as clever as men. Women are just as conniving, open, fluid sexually as men. Just as dominant, can be, commanding, authoritative as men. That's it. Yes, Desira says the substance that she used, I was told that it makes you like a rabbit. It's called Cocoa Puff. It was her favorite, according to the testimony in the courtroom. It was one of her favorite drugs because, yes, it did bring out the sexual side. And also ecstasy was her drug of choice. Let's continue.
So it was just I always thought about it before all this stuff happened and it came out again. I just over the years I just thought about it as like just some wild shit that happened in my rock and roll life. You know what I'm saying? Like I just you know, it's just some crazy shit that happened. You know.
And when he's saying wild, I have a funny feeling and a sneaky suspicion he's not just talking about the two of them being in a room. That's it.
You testified in court.
Yeah.
How did you feel going into that situation?
Oh man. I felt I was calm. You know? I was there because I had to be. Like I first they asked, I said no. They asked again, I said no. Then I got subpoenaed.
That's how they did everybody. They forced everybody that was, I'm going to say about 95% of the people that took that stand did not want to be there. But Cassie's tricky. She's clever. She's been in the game a bit. She's a street girl. And what I mean by street, you know how they say street knowledge. Cassie introduced a dominant portion of the key eyewitnesses to the feds, to the government, U.S. Attorney's Office. And it was presented in most cases as informational meetings. Hey, they just want to just tell them your story. That's it. And before you knew it, most of them would testify they did not want to be there. And he confirms this. They were like, you ain't got no fucking choice. My nigga, you testifying.
And I was like, fuck, shit, no. Then I'm thinking about like, what do I wear, man? Do I have to be like fucking suit or something? I was like, man, fuck this shit. This is what I'm wearing today. I'm going to the fucking shit in this. I'm not dressing up for this shit. Like wearing some hard bottoms to shit. I'm wearing some fucking Solomons and I'm coming in there with my Levi's and my leather jacket and that's it, you know? But I hated every minute of it. Like I did not want to do it. But then I thought about, you know, when I was up there, you know, I'm here to support Cassie. And, you know, Cassie is my friend, you know, and I love her and I want to see her do well. When I saw her get married, I was so happy for her, you know, that she found someone, her person. When I saw that she was having kids, I was like, oh, this is so awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I've always just wanted to see her, you know, thrive and do well and be happy, you know, because I know she was living a nightmare. And I just was there to support her. That's what kind of gave me peace with it when I sat down in that chair. It was just about, damn, I don't want to do this, to being like, oh man, I gotta like hold homegirl down and like, you know, look out for her, you know.
No, that's beautiful. looking back, obviously not at everything that was done in court when you.
What do y'all think about that? A blast from the past, somebody that, ooh, you got some good memories with, whether it's somebody in high school. And they say, y'all, when you have this sweet spot for someone, you always see them. It's almost like that moment in time is frozen. You'll forever see them in that way, right? That beautiful way to you. Imagine how he felt. Many years later, he's gone on with his life. And then he gets a call from Cassie. How do you think he felt with that phone ringing like, damn, what's up? I'm sure his heart leaped for joy. I'm sure that he was happy to hear her voice, eager to know what prompted her to call him. And I'm sure he didn't think twice about going into an informational interview just to help her out. But at the end, when they ask twice, pretending to be nice. And then it was like, you don't have a choice. You never did. How would you feel about that bait and switch? And then I'm going to skip around a little bit. I want to go to a different where he talks about coke, his use of coke. Let me see. 56:44. Let's go here.
But I will say this. That's the only time it felt like that.
Oh, let me go back. Hold on.
Like, hold homegirl down and hey, he don't be no. But I will say this.
Damn, hold on, y'all.
That's the only time it felt like that, which is crazy, So I was already kind of sheltered in my own little space with a small group of friends. But this is like, and that's kind of like the thing about LA. It's like, if you see me somewhere, it's like they're seeing like a monk that they haven't seen in like 100 years. And hey, he don't be no.
So he rarely comes out. He sounds like he has a very reclusive life. And whenever he's coming out, it's purposeful. It's for a reason.
Where? Like, you don't see me. I'm not out in these streets.
You just don't go out?
I don't go out.
You don't leave your house?
Like, I don't now, and I didn't in my 30s, really.
Okay, so you just were like keeping to yourself for a while.
Yeah.
That's what I want to go to. I know you wrote in the book and you mentioned a couple times, but let's get more into it. You say that grappling with fame essentially is what kind of pushed you towards drugs.
Yeah.
What do you remember feeling the first time that you tried cocaine?
100% happiness. It was like, the feeling I got was nothing I had ever felt before.
He's very thoughtful. If you haven't noticed already, he's a very thoughtful individual. And you can see it play out in real time on the screen. He doesn't just talk. He's very mindful of his words. He reminds me a little bit of Brene Brown. And he thinks before he speaks. Kat says, I don't get that. I've never understood that, but wow, it's interesting. I think you may be talking about. Okay. Special Case says, what has he made in the industry lately? I'm just asking because I haven't heard anything. He spoke to a memoir that he recently just wrote. He spoke to that earlier in the interview.
It was fucking magical. But I will say this. That's the only time it felt like that. All the other times after, I was just chasing that first high. And it was never getting there. It never felt like that first time ever again. Like,
it's good to clarify.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, I know kids might be watching this podcast, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be like saying like.
No. I think it's part of your story. And I know we're getting to like, obviously that was a huge part of, we'll get to rehab and recovery, but still like there was a part of your life where you were at a place where you were relying on drugs, and that's your story. And but you're also here today to tell the story. And I think there's a lot of people that don't have the courage to even say these type of things out loud and like own that. And I think this another reason why, again,
I have to salute him for that. He sat his ass here and told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. He said, the first time I did coke, it made me happy. I felt great. But that was the only time I ever felt that way. Because each and every time, nothing. And I was just chasing that first high over and over and over again. And I think that's my first time hearing someone being comfortable with telling the truth about their drug use without sugarcoating it, trying to dress it up, or give themselves a way out. He sat there and he stood on business. And then let him finish his sentence, and then I'm going to go to one more clip, and then we'll just kind of freestyle.
You are so successful is because you're connecting with people on real shit. Like, there's probably also a lot of fucking people listening and watching today that have an addiction. So hearing you acknowledge that, like, I think it's thank you, honestly. So you talk about how you only would do coke alone. Why was that?
I think it was just supposed to be my little secret. Like, I didn't want it to be like a known thing that like I did coke around the industry. That would have spread fast, you know? So I just like kind of kept it to myself. That doesn't mean like people couldn't tell I was on it. You know what I mean? Like people could probably...
He was like, girl, yeah, I did it by myself, but shit, they probably knew by the way I was behaving that I was on something.
Probably figure it out, you know?
You write about how your album, Speeding Bullet to Heaven.
All right, so I'm going to skip around, and I want to go to, we got the drugs, we got the coke. Let me go to one more, and I think that's it.
I don't give a fuck if people like it or not. This is how I feel. I just feel angry as fuck. And I just wanted an excuse to like scream on records, you know, and express that anger.
You said essentially that you wanted that album to be your goodbye.
Yeah.
Like you were planning on taking your life and you either wanted to do it during or after it released, or you weren't sure, but like that was going to be your goodbye.
Yeah.
Did anyone close to you in your life know that you were struggling that bad?
I don't think so. I kept it because when I was around my friends, I was happy to not be alone.
Oh, I'm glad he said that. I'm glad he said it. He said it. He said it. Listen to me very closely for those of you that are tuned in. Most people that are struggling with SI, suicide ideation, there's no hints, there's no clues. And typically, many that have taken their life have done so at the climax or a highlight in their career or their life when something good has just happened or is about to happen. And while you're seated on the sideline, cheering them on, so happy, so proud, to them, this is the day. The high school graduation, the release of the album, Kate Spade. I think Kate Spade took her life, right? If you think about where she was in her career, Robin Williams, where he was in his career, and people say, wow, I'm completely shocked. He said, nobody around me knew. Kurt Cobain, nobody around me knew. Simple Yet Stylish says, I appreciate his honesty and transparency. I think it's really important, right, that he put it out there like that. And he did so in such a very organic and green way, right? It's undeniable.
So I was like, back to, you know what I mean? I could keep it to myself, you know? I never wanted to worry my friends. There's some people that deal with these things and they like to like put it on other people and shit. I never wanted that to be. I don't want people to be, oh man, Scott calling me again. He's, you know what I mean? Like I was like, look, I'm gonna just deal with my shit by myself. Like I'll be cool. I can maintain. I got a daughter. I want to be here for her. You know what I mean? Like just all the thoughts that I need to think to.
And that's why they say, check on the strong people, the ones you see making moves, doing shit. They don't really have too many problems that you know of. He said, nah, I'm not going to put that on nobody. I was contemplating taking my life and nobody knew it but me. I ran through the play. I considered the people that would be impacted. My most important person was my daughter. But outside of that, I'm not going to call you. Hey, I'm thinking about this or I'm thinking about that. No, I'm not built like that. I got it. And it makes you look at people in life completely different, right? It kind of removes the judgment. And you be like, damn, you never know what people are. We say it all the time. People say it all the time. You never know what people are dealing with. They'll say it in one breath and then go back to acting like a hellhound in the other breath. But I'm talking about for those of you that are really tuned in, that are trying to show up better in life. And you know, a part of showing up and you understand that a part of showing up better is also how you treat other people around you. And sometimes treating other people around you have nothing to do with saying or doing. It could just be observation. Seeing. Seeing someone is acknowledgement. You don't have to say a word. So that when you do step in, you can say, I love the way you blank. You know, I'm very familiar with your work. I think you're awesome in this dynamic. I think you're very good at this. Of course, I know who you are. You know, whatever that is, whether it's a friend, a family member, a coworker. There are people today, it's worse. If you think about loneliness, they did a study a few years ago. And did you know, I think it was like 60 something percent of people said that when they would leave work, school, and go home, they were lonely. And how did they categorize loneliness? If I needed to pick up the phone to call somebody because I'm having a bad day, do I have anybody that I could trust? 60 something percent of those that were polled in that survey said no, they did not have any close friends or relatives that they considered close, that they could trust with matters of the heart.
Keep me from going down that dark path.
What was your rock bottom moment?
Man, I think it was during that time. 2016 was bad too. That's when I finally went to rehab. Because I relapsed and started using again. I would say from 2015 to 2016, it was like the decline, getting just darker and darker and darker. And suicide was on my mind like all the time. Like I would like daydream about the shit, you know? And I just, when I relapsed and I was like, kind of faced with this reality, like, damn, like it's been 6 years since I've used this shit. And I thought I was.
So when you think about loneliness and the way I just laid it out for you, he falls in that category. See, we always think of, when I say the people they polled, we don't know who those people were. We think about you, me, they just regular smegulars. No. Celebrities, entertainers, reality stars fall in that category too. Could I really call somebody that I trust? This ain't going nowhere. If I feel like, you know, I'm in a deep bout of depression, I'm in a deep bout of anxiety, I'm really going through some shit. And not just one day, because, you know, they categorize clinical depression as symptoms or signs and or behaviors that's been lingering or ongoing for 7 days or longer. Just to let you know. And he had nobody.
Thought I was past that, and I'm obviously not. Like that was fucking me up, you know. It was just kind of like, man, I don't want to go in circles. Like I'm supposed to like be off this shit. I'm getting older. Like I'm in my 30s. Like people don't want to keep seeing you be a fuck up. You got to get your life together, bro. You're not in your 20s no more. You're not just out here. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like this reality check I needed, and I went and got help. You know, I'm glad I did at that time because, you know, something would have happened for sure. You know what I mean? And ever since then, like I haven't been like, yeah, I'll get down about some things, but then I get over it. Like before, shit would hit me for like weeks. Something bad happens, I'm like in the house for weeks. It's like miserable. But, you know, ever since 2016, I've been like 1,000 times better. Like, it's so funny because like Lola, we were hanging out.
So we can assume that him going to get help and checking himself into that treatment facility, you say, okay, well, what's the difference between him saying that any little thing would trigger him to where he's at the house, in the house, curtains closed, won't come out, don't really feel like interacting, engaging, just going through some shit, right? Where life is eating him up. And he's like this rock star persona, you know, this guy who on the outside looking in has it all together. Well, what's the difference, Queen Sheba? He didn't have the coping skills. He didn't have the strategies in place prior. The strategy was to do drugs. The strategy was to have sex, to drink. That was the strategy. So when he quit using drugs, you know, he found himself still in that mind space, that head space, because drugs didn't really fix anything. It was just a Band-Aid. But when he checked into the treatment center, I'm sure they gave him the coping strategies to say, okay, the next time you feel this way, instead of snorting a line of coke, instead of going to the bar, instead of getting on the app and seeing what them cheeks do, put this in place of that. Before you pick this up, pick that up. Thank you, Desira. She said this is actually a brave conversation that he's having, and I think he's the right person to have it. I think he's the right person to have it. He's not leaning on anything. He's not making any types of excuses for himself. And it's so beautiful and tender. You did not hear him make not one excuse. He's just telling his story.
And out one time, it was like maybe 2 years ago. And she we were talking about 2010 for me and what I was going through and all this shit. And I told her I got arrested, and they found drugs on me. And she was like, what? And I was like, all right, let me find the article and let you read this shit. So she's reading it and she starts laughing. She's like, I don't know who this person is. She's like, all I know is the sweet Scott that I've known for like years now. Like, I don't know this. This is so funny to me. Like, I'm not even concerned because I know you're past this point in your life. I know that enough to know that, and like, she just looks at it like it's a silly thing, and then it made me kind of, in that moment, I found peace with it because I always just kind of, bummed out about that. I thought that, it was like a dent in my armor a little bit. But that made me feel okay about it. I was like, damn, my girl's not even like.
I want to end it there. Please feel free to go to Kid Cudi's full interview, the full episode of on Call Her Daddy here on YouTube. And actually, while I'm at it, I'm going to plug it into the description box. Give me 1 second so that I can make sure I'm going to put a full interview so that you all can check it out. Did you hear what he just stated? And I think it's so important for some of you that are tuned in. Earlier, I said, there's somebody for everybody. And I know we live in a crazy world and it sounds so cliche, but I'm going to keep it real with you if I can for a second. For those of you that are tuned in here on YouTube, thank you. I appreciate you being here with us. And also those of you that are pulling up on Twitter. For the most part in life, most people want to see you do well. Most people want to see you do well. Most people want and they wish the best for you. And with that being said, men need love too. Men need a soft place to land too at the end of the day. And if you haven't already, ladies, we've got to challenge ourselves to show up as our best selves, to not be a hard pillow. There's nothing worse than a hard mattress. It gives you back pain, stiffness in the muscles, sore neck, all of that. You don't get a good night's sleep. And he said that his wife, who was then his girlfriend, was a soft place for him because his secrets, his deficits, his flaws put a dent in his armor, i.e. self-esteem, confidence as a man, the things they don't say. And the fact that she looked at him and said, that's not who you are. I'm not even worried about that because you've surpassed that part of your life. That made him feel loved, recognized, seen, all of those listened to, values. Damn, somebody likes me with that dent in my armor, right? And that's all most people want. So if you don't hear anything, hear this. Show up as your best self if you're going to be engaged with people. And if you're in a situation, environments, attached to people, places, and things that don't allow you or prohibit you from showing up as your best self, consider closing that door. Because it is so refreshing to get around your tribe that God has handpicked for you. It's so refreshing to be around meaningful people that really value who you are on the inside and out, and that push you, propel you in the right direction without saying one word to you. You don't lose your footing. You don't lose your ground. You don't lose your sense of self. You come with a past. They know it, but their arms are wide open. Their arms are wide open. They're not even tripping. And I think this interview was a testament that we all have flaws. We all have some fingerprints on our lives. You know what I'm saying? Some shit that we want to keep in the dark about ourselves. That's why I don't really, with content creation, I'll take it a little, if it's entertainment, but there's just some areas I won't go, especially if I feel like that person has really had to put in some effort in life to pull themselves out of a dark hole, wherever they were, right? I try to be respectful. Unless hold on now, unless you disrespect me. But look, but other than that, I really hope this interview serves to be very empowering for those of you that are tuned in. You can't stay in the past of where you were in your life. You stand in the past, you telling woe is me stories isn't going to do you anything, right? But I'm talking about where it's propelling you to move forward, to be like, I'm not the only one in the world that has a story. I'm not the only one in the world that suffer with drug use, that suffer with alcohol. Look at how beautiful he's sitting here telling his story as he needs to and as he sees fit. And hell, every now and then in the middle of the interview, hitting a blunt right here. Look. And I'm not encouraging you to hit a blunt, but look at him. I'm not going to even turn on the sound. Look, you see, hitting a blunt, living his life as he needs to, in the comfort of his home, in his space with those that love him and value him, not even tripping, barely even go outside. Thank you, Brenda. She said this was good. I'm not saying, but we've been so fucking conditioned to be perfect. We've been so conditioned. Well, if you do this, and if you got free from that, and if you do this, then you're not really freed. I'm not saying pick up a blunt or a cigarette. I'm saying he's found his place where he can thrive and where he's able to live according to what he needs. That's it. That's all. Bree Prince says, yes, this interview was so honest and transparent and forthcoming and sweet. This was so wonderful. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight something different, on your little work hour, help you get through the work day. Special K says, so true, Queen Sheba, you're speaking facts. That's it. We all just ordinary people in this motherfucker, just trying to live life the best of our ability. And I always say this. I said, I don't want to be the one to fuck up somebody's day. I don't want to be the one to break somebody's heart where they think about taking their life. I'll disengage with you before I have to go there, unless you got my back up against the wall. But other than that, it's up to us. We get to choose how we show up. And we all struggle with something. So that ain't no excuse. Show up as your best self. That's all I'm saying. Let me see if I have any questions. But also reciprocity. Because I saw a comment. Reciprocity is also so important. Let me see. The comment said, somebody that speaks life into you. And if they're speaking it into you, you need to make sure you're pouring it into them. Reciprocity, because we can all pull our weight in different ways. If somebody makes you smile, makes you light up, if somebody showing up in your life has made you a better version of yourself, give back. Find a way to give back. Find a way to show up for them. It don't have to be financially. Real talk. If they speaking it into you, then pour it into them. Because sometimes you may not have the right words to say. Maybe they have the gift of encouragement. That's just what God has blessed them with. Then you find yours. And then that just makes the world go round and round and round. And typically we talk this kind of shit behind the wall, right? But we just coming out today to play with y'all a little bit on YouTube. That's it. I just love him. I like the fact that he likes himself. I like the fact that he likes himself as a man. And he found, let me tell you something. It's somebody for everybody. When you get into a space of healing, when you get into a place where you are comfortable within yourself, you ain't got nothing to prove because you know what you've been through and what you've struggled with. And it could have been lights out. You just happy to be here. He shared in this interview, he said he don't even shop for new clothes. He likes thrift. He loves shopping at thrift stores. It's just nice to get to know people, right? And hear their stories, and you learn stuff. And it softens us up a little bit as people. It softens us up. We need that to say, you know what, let me back down a little bit. Shit, that's a reminder. People be dealing with stuff. Hell, your smile could make somebody's day. Thank you, Shirley. Welcome. Welcome to the palace. Shirley says, I just subscribed. I like your channel. Well, thank you. We appreciate you having you here. A day above ground is a good day. Q Catrice says he lives in his truth and is so comfortable with expressing exactly who he is. Love that he's doing it his way. Yeah. He's finally found his sweet spot in life. And it sounds like he didn't hit it until his 40s. It sounds like life just started coming together for him in his 40s. When you put that together with healing, doing your work, not being toxic and wild, because he was wild. When he started talking about him and Cassie, he's like, man, there was sometimes I was like, is this shit real? It was crazy. It was intense. It was an up and down emotional roller coaster, drug fueled, alcohol, sex, doing this and this, wild and out, crazy, right? Having to fall apart just to be put back together. And then love found him. Yeah, love found him. Baby, it's somebody for everybody. Y'all better get outside. But work on yourself first, because we don't need you coming outside broken. Work on yourself. So that's all I got for you today. I didn't want to be too long. I thought it was a very interesting, light, refreshing interview. And I wanted to bring it to you. So please go over there, support, check it out. Check it out. He was different. He was different. And you can tell that he wasn't trying to put on in this interview and be a crowd pleaser. He didn't care about none of that. None of that. And it's so refreshing. It is. You're welcome, Candy Lou. Candy says, thank you. Thank you. You're very welcome. You're welcome, Mayor of YouTube. It's my pleasure. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to my moderators working the chat, working hard. We got Toot Latrice. We got the Somali Queen. We got Linda Gamble. And we also have Desira TV, y'all. So make sure y'all show them some love, because they showed up. And they're so flexible with me. So, yeah. And with that being said, of course, I'm going to work on some more content for you. I will see y'all a little bit later. Enjoy your Thursday. And for those of you that are members only, I will see y'all at 7 in the morning, 7:35 a.m. for our coffee talk, honey. That's what we do behind the wall. And listen, let me see. What's tomorrow's topic? We're going to be back there talking shit. That's it. Having a good time. What we talking about tomorrow? Let me see. Hold on. Morning coffee behind the wall. Soft girl energy. Hold on. What we say? Until you try me. So we all have that soft girl energy until you try me. So we just going to be back there kicking it with a cup of coffee for 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, I see you. Mayor YouTube to my Whole Foods. Look, I ain't been back there in a while. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Have a good day. And I will see y'all a little bit later.